16th. The audit is still not been available to me. However, the delay in the audit does tell me something about it. There's a pattern in the city of Lake Geneva's audits that tells me how hard the city has to work to cover the financial tracks. If the audit is straightforward, then there are minor changes juggling in February, and the audit is completed in April. Audits completed in April are rated at a 1. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the best and 10 being the worst. In 2008, we had one of the worst. It took 10 months before that one was finally approved in 2010. So on that scale,
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
A motion to suspend the rules and allow
Believe it.
Motion to suspend the rules and let Mr. McLuhan do whatever else to do.
The motion was made by Alderman Hadlin and seconded by Alderman Skaggs to suspend the rules.
Just kind of summarize from a financial perspective, very strong financial year as you enter 2019. Any questions? Yes.
Yes, during public comment, there were questions about why this was delayed, and I think you've answered that in part, but if you could expand a little bit. And also indication that there's a numeric value given to these audits, which I wasn't aware of, and I wondered if you could discuss that.
Can you ask the second question? I didn't quite catch what you did.
Yes, I understand that there's a numeric value given to an audit as to whether the city has accomplished its task.
Well, the first question is the delay was really related to the OPEB liability, and we were waiting for an actuarial study to be revised to comply. We walked through a number of different things, really talks about the audit report that I went through, but really talks about our responsibilities. We do complete your audit in accordance with government auditing standards. Those standards require us not only to look at the financial statements we just went through, but also look at your internal controls and compliance. So as a governmental entity and stewards of the public's money, both internal control and compliance are very important parts of an audit of a municipality within Wisconsin. So our audit includes both a financial statement audit, but also includes compliance and internal controls. So we do issue a second report that's in the back of the annual financial report on pages 69 and 70. If you turn to page 2, we did issue, consistent with prior years, a segregation of duties finding. We believe that a lot of this has been implemented with respect to, in the past, the transactions of the utilities were separate from the city for the most part. Now combining them and incorporating them, we believe added or increased the segregation, and so we believe this finding we'll revisit it. It's part of our 2019 audit, but we believe that the city has done a nice job of reorganizing some of the financial procedures to enhance segregation. The problem with any type of controls is we look over the whole year, not just the end of the year. So when we look at controls, we're looking at what happened throughout the whole year. So that's why we did report it as an item, but our risk was primarily, in the past, was a lot related to the utilities, and the city did a nice job of integrating that in with utility support. So we, like I said, we'll believe that this will be certainly reviewed next year, but probably minimized out of a significant deficiency going forward. Then the bottom of page 2 and top of page 3 do talk about some estimates. So any financial statements rely on some estimates. especially when you rely on actuaries to present some of the information. So both actuaries and of the Wisconsin retirement system and actuaries of the other post-employment benefits liability of the city do our estimates based on projections of what would happen in the future, based on best case analysis by your actuaries. So actual results could differ, but our review indicates, as we indicated, we did request some modifications to the actuarial report. We did receive that. We believe it accurately reflects the liability of the city. The rest of page 4 indicates that from our perspective, the audit went very well. We do spend a lot of time, with the finance staff, both, in the utilities and at the city. But we do spend time with most departments. We will review department transactions at the police department, etc. So when we look at the audit, it's more than just some of the numbers in your financial statements. It's really looking at all the entry points of activity within the city. And certainly everyone cooperated in the audit extremely well from our perspective. Like I said, we were just waiting for the final actuarial report. Otherwise, from our perspective, the audit was ready months ago, just trying to finalize that actuarial liability. Excuse me, then if we turn to page 5, page 5 looks at your governmental fund balances. Fund balances in a governmental fund are a sense of liquidity. They're also a sense of your financial strength as you enter 2019. So you can see, as we saw in your audit, your general fund did go up. Your unassigned general fund did go up too. So unassigned general fund balance is really your contingency or unassigned amounts that are available to appropriate in future years. If you look at the next page, when you look at your fund balance policy, your fund balance policy talks about 25% of general fund non-capital, non-debt service expenditures. So you look at that calculation, you compare it to your fund balance. It's certainly reflective of a strong unassigned fund balance as you enter 2018. The rest of the funds we believe are not, there's no significant areas funds that we're concerned about. Overall, we continue to believe the city is in a strong financial position as you enter 2019. Then if we turn to page 7, we do have a comment related to new reporting for leases. So this is a new standard that will be effective for future years, and it's just more informational purposes. But as I indicated, our only comment on controls really related to segregation. The rest of all the transactions that we looked at, we did not have any items that we considered to report to the council. We believe the city's internal controls are really operating as designed, and had no other additional comments related to that. Like I said, audit of the city went very well. Audit of the utilities went very well this year. So with that, I'll entertain any questions that anyone may have.
Anyone have any questions?
Sounds good,
Covered it
sir.
all?
Sounds good. Sorry I was late.
That's quite all right. All right, then, we will go to item 11, which is the discussion and action regarding resolution 19-R62, authorizing the receipt of the 2018 City of Lake Geneva Annual Financial Report and Management Letter. Is there a motion?
Motion approved.
Was made by Alderman Hedlund and seconded by Alderman Flower to approve resolution 19-R62, authorizing the receipt of the 2018 City of Lake Geneva Annual Financial Report and Management Letter. Alderman Hedlund?
Yeah, the only thing I would like to comment is I would like to thank Comptroller Hall for doing an exceptional job.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Alderman Flower. You have a strong voice there.
I would like to second that, same comment. But also, so if this wasn't available and it was requested prior to us just accepting a receipt of it, would they be able to comment on it in the next council meeting if there was questions from the public? Or
It's a
should
great question. To the attorney or?
Are we approving it or receiving it?
We're just receiving.
So can we comment next council meeting, or they can only comment on things that are on the agenda, right?
Sounds good. Does that answer the question?
I guess, I'm just not sure if it's typically available on requests in advance or something like that?
It always gets
Or is
handed to
that-
us, I've wondered, yeah.
So it's available after this, and if someone had any questions, they could always contact us. We can get it back on the agenda if there's any questions. Okay, thank you.
Anything else? All right, the motion was made and seconded to approve resolution 19-R62, authorizing the receipt of the 2018 City of Lake Geneva annual financial report and management letter. Use the voting machine to record the votes, please. And that passes unanimously.